I was lucky enough to be in a brand that was a startup within a big group. So people didn't really care because people didn't really notice what we were doing. It was not even a percent. It was not even 1,000th of a percent of the turnover of the group. So it wasn't of any interest. We could experiment quite a lot, but then the more we grew, the more we developed, the more obviously we made noise, the more my position became a bit more political over time. And I would say I had the chance to really do a startup, build something from scratch, which is Jacquedo back then, with a lot of freedom in a big group. And my freedom got smaller and smaller, the bigger and bigger the company grows. So. And the more I grew within the group, the more I understood that somehow it didn't fit. I was not a political animal, and I don't think I will ever be. And I always spoke out what I thought, which was my benefit, but which also made me a lot of, let's say, uncomfortable positions and a few enemies as well, because people don't like when you speak out too much, when you compete a little bit, when you start to shake elements people don't like. And I understood I'm much better off independent. And that's where I in 2009, end of 2009, joined an independent company in Geneva because I needed this creative freedom. My focus from the beginning on was to say the product, because at the end of the day, watches is about the product. Product has to be the queen or the king within the whole logic, because if the product's not good, everything else will be much more difficult. And that was the idea from the beginning. Say, let's focus on the product and build really cool, affordable, collectible, and why not second market valued timepieces in a price segment where there was nobody did this basically. When they restarted the brand in the early 2000s, their idea was to say, we make the most affordable Swiss mechanical watch, which is a very interesting concept. But the problem is the price is not something that you can protect, because the price everybody can copy to a certain extent, or even make it cheaper. And that's what happened with Louis Erard at the beginning, is that they were not a manufacturer, they didn't have their own movement, so they bought them. And since it was very successful at the beginning, lots of the other brands at this price segment started to do the same, offer the same product with even a slightly lesser price. And very quickly, Louis Erard was forced to open up, to create more offer, to try to have not just mechanical movements, but also quartz movements. And my idea was to say, okay, let's not compete on the price, but let's compete on philosophy. Let's compete on stories, let's compete on emotions. And on I would say, the value that can generate. And the idea was to say, okay, we don't want to offer the most affordable mechanical Swiss-made watch, because we can't, because we don't have the volumes, or we don't have the verticality. But what we want to do is offer all these values of high-end watchmaking, whether it's métier d'art, whether it's names, whether it's stories, whether it's collaborations, but still in the most affordable price point. The watchmakers, but for me, collaborations should be in different fields. So we started with architects and designers. We're going to move on to contemporary artists. And then we also work with the watchmaking ecosystem, or let's say with people who have something different to show. So, but we had to start somewhere strong. So a lot of people see Alain Silberstein because that's the one it's at the first and also the most visible, but it's just one among a few others. Somehow it dilutes the product. For us, every collaboration is a unique, one kind of product, and it's limited to 178 pieces, which in this price segment is very, very little. And I think as long as you surprise, as long as you don't overdo, as long as you don't fail into comfort or easiness, and as long as you somehow sustain a second market, I think there's not a limit to that. And if you look, pieces like Silberstein's or Vianney Halter some of the products sell 2 or 3 times more on the second market, and obviously this gives confidence. And I think there's not a clear answer to say where to draw the line between when it becomes too much. And I think if you really have it as a philosophy, because that's also a different thing with Louis Erard. I mean, collaborations is such a strong. It's almost our base DNA, or one of the strong DNAs within the brand, versus other brands that make a collaboration here and there. I think we position ourselves in between this logic of a brand that is a brand that does here and there a collaboration, and the pure collaboration-based logic. I think there is our thin line. We adapt here and there, and when we feel it's too much, we slow down. So we have this capacity to adapt. But the idea is very simple. We want to have a very small collection of maybe 10 to 15 references, create something unique every 6 to 8 weeks. So let's say 6 to 8 times a year, and sell it within a partnership, within I would say 78 partners in the world. And then it's cool, because what's cool is when you have an extremely quick product cycle, the whole team is super creative and the whole team is super quick. And I love it, because every day we have an idea, every day we do something. We're not just like, okay, let's do a product, okay, and then we do the whole development, and then we do one buzz in 1 year, and then that's it. I would die doing this, I guess. That's just too boring. And I believe very, very strongly that watches have, even if not to the extent it is today, but the second market is a key driver to the first market. And if your product can't sustain its value on the second market, for me, it doesn't sustain the brand.